This is not a drawing. Neither is this. Not even this. These are what we call sketches. Typically, sketches are defined by loose lines, a lot of extra lines than what you'd normally have, and they're really used just to kind of get an idea out or to kind of start plotting out a finished drawing. There's different kinds of sketches, but today we're going to be talking about the thumbnail sketch. Thumbnail sketches are very quick gestural drawings that usually just have like stick figures and a little bit of shading put into them. They're just meant to block in an image so that you know a little bit more of what you're after for the finished product. In this sketch, you can see the artist is trying to plot out an image for us. Here they've refined the image, but they've changed the angle a little. Here they've done the same image again, but they've changed the angle a little bit more. Here they're coming up with more of a finished product. And here is the finished product. This is a drawing versus a sketch. You can see that it's a drawing because it is shaded in, it is complete, it has a sense of being complete. It doesn't look like a wispy series of lines put together. The thumbnail sketch, it's meant to be even simpler. It's just to plot out some basic shapes and positions of where the main parts of your drawing are going to end up being.
In order for us to start up with a thumbnail sketch, we have to have an idea. The idea doesn't have to be super elaborate. It can be very simple, but we can go into it, we can make it more in depth as we go. So my idea, it's just going to be me in a classroom and I'm teaching or talking. To do my thumbnail, I'm going to simply make a little tiny frame. And this little tiny frame, yeah, it's no smaller than my thumb, but it can go fairly large. I would say smaller than a playing card. And I'm going to have the first one be very simple. It's going to be a stick figure of me. I'm putting in just some basics. I'm going to make sure that my mouth looks like it's open. I'm being really loose with this. Remember, it's a sketch, not a drawing. So I'm just going to have my shirt plotted in there, and I talk with my hands a lot, so I'm going to have my arm up. My hand is just this ball, and maybe I have my other hand up and I'm holding something. And I want it to be my classroom, so I'm going to put the chalkboard maybe behind me, little notes onto that, maybe another little chalkboard. Simple, straight to the point. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to block in my values. Values are important because they can help me to make my image more dynamic, but it also helps me to figure out how to break the image up. So I already know my hair is going to be a darker value, so I'm just going to kind of darken that in. And in this case, I am going to decide, are my clothes, which are taking up a lot of this, going to be dark value, or the background? Well, the walls in my classroom are white, so instead I'm going to make my shirt dark so that it stands out. I'm going to make the border around my chalkboard just a little bit darker. I have my first thumbnail sketch done. When I'm doing a thumbnail sketch, I like to think of it this way. I'm going to depict a scene, and every one of my thumbnails is going to represent the exact same scene. I like to imagine that I am a little fly and I have a camera, and I'm going to fly around that room. I'm going to look down, I'm going to look up, I'm going to move around and see what angle is going to show my story the best. So there's my first scene. My fly camera has moved up and it's right in the face of me. My classroom is secondary, and the fact that I'm teaching or talking is evident because my hands are talking and my mouth is open. Now I want to try something a little different. So I'm going to take my fly and I'm going to have him fly somewhere else in the room. So same idea, I still have my chalkboards behind me, my hands are still up, but this time I'm zooming out a little bit. And because I'm zooming out, I can now include more information. Right now this kind of looks boring, so I can go ahead and I'm going to have just the corner of a student's head in there. It's just a dark mass, maybe another student's head here. Maybe their nose is showing just a little tiny bit. Now I've got this second image. So now as my little fly self, I'm going to move into a different spot. Maybe I want to try something completely different. This time my paper's in landscape, and this time I'm going to show myself from the side. Chalkboards are still up there. I still have all of that, but this time I'm showing more of the floor, and I've got this little horrible little stick figure. Remember, this doesn't have to be super descriptive. And I've got some students that are sitting in front of me. And maybe I like the idea of how this is going, so I'm going to try this again, but this time maybe a little bit further along. So maybe in this one I'm trying out just to see what I think it looks like if I'm more sideways and I see more rows as the students and I see myself. Also remember, you can always label things if you're unsure if you're going to remember what those little blurbs are later. A thumbnail sketch is there to help you just kind of plot out where things are, things like light and dark and general shapes. I'm not getting into super details here. You can see this is barely representative of a person, but I'm just getting a basic idea of where things are going to live in my final composition.
Today we talked about thumbnail sketches, And we talked about how using them can help us to play around with how an image looks through quick sketches, small, fast images that put our final image together. We talked about how we want to block or shade parts of the thumbnail sketches in to get a sense of light and dark. And you created 15 unique thumbnail sketches that all depicted the exact same moment frozen in time. My artists, I cannot wait to see your thumbnail sketches. Till next time, I'm Mr. Morris. Bye.